Conflict and combat scenarios. We've all done conflict, especially in GTA roleplay. It's pretty much bread and butter of GTA roleplay, whether it's social conflict, physical conflict, or internalized conflict. Um, they all have their own set of rules. A lot of them are unwritten rules, and it's just kind of those things that you learn over time. And very often, we are bad when we first start it, and over time we kind of learn the subtlety and the nuance and all the little baby things you have to do when you're in the middle of these different scenarios in order just to help, one, move story, and two, not overwhelm anyone who's involved in these situations, because they can all be overwhelming or they can all have negative impacts on other players. So, types of conflict. Physical is the most common one. We've all been in physical conflict at some point. It is externalized. You're hitting somebody, you're punching somebody, and it relies on physical violence. Gunplay, stabbing someone. We've all seen it, even if it's against locals. Social. Social is also external because you're dealing with other characters, other players. It often does not include physical acts of violence, and it relies more on wordplay, deception, lies, things of that nature. Internal. Internal is the interesting one, and it's probably the hardest one to convey. It is internalized. It is to your own character, and you need to find ways to express it externally. It does not have to directly include any other characters, and it's often not seen by others, which is the tricky point of, if it's a story beat of your character struggling with something, how to bring others in to build a story out of it. It does rely on characters projecting internalized struggles through voice, status, memes, and emotes in order to build on that story. Internal is probably the hardest one to do. It is the longest pacing, and it is the one that players, even myself, when I was learning GTA roleplay, struggle with the most. Physical conflict, we love it. Physical conflict. All right, so whenever you're getting into physical conflict, brain go burr if you're not used to it. It happens to everybody. Things happen, it's quick, it's over before your brain even can process what is going on. And usually when you're in the middle of physical conflict, there's a lot of rules to keep in mind, and it's very easy to miss them. It's very easy to mess up. It's very easy to just, your brain goes into emergency survival mode of shit. Speaking, always try to vocalize and project any kind of verbal warnings, threats, things that the other players can cue in on to let them know that action's going to happen. Same thing with slash me's. Slash me's are a great way. If your character's not going to be very vocal and is very stoic, kind of like Ness, slash me's are great. Like, finger looks twitchy, looks like they're reaching for something, hands ball into, clench into fists. Pacing. Physical conflict, when you're in the middle of it, it happens and it's over in a flash. You're downed, or the other person's downed. And then that's where the pacing comes in. The pacing comes in with a larger scheme when it comes to conflict. Wars, two groups fighting, cop v crim on a larger scale instead of just a one and done conflict. So if there are bigger story beats to physical conflict that's going on, a great example right now is on the server MBG versus Vagos, Families versus Valkyries. There's a lot of conflict going on the server right now, a bunch of others that are not really known yet that I'm not going to mention. Leave breadcrumbs. You leave evidence. You can open evidence tickets that we have in the Discord that's unique to us. You could just say, hey, a person dressed in black with an orange bandana was seen by the security camera leaving the area, something akin to that. You could also leave scenes. It's tricky because you have to move quick, but even scenes of what I do on Nest, drop a flag, or blood pooling. And sometimes if you are having conflict against a local, locals despawn. They don't always persist. If you leave the area, anything local, vehicles, peds, they will despawn. So what I like to do is I like to take an action against a ped and then leave a scene of dead ped looks like it was stabbed. Oh god, Toro, hi.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Playing Overwatch last night.
Also, when it comes to pacing, when you're in the moment with physical conflict, there are ways to also project to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. It's hard to do a brain go burr, but when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of like who's gonna pop off first. Give the space so that the other player can know that action is about to happen, and that give them the chance to react. Don't just completely overwhelm them, gun them without saying a word, without projecting any slash me's, without giving them a chance to say, do, or anything else, because that just feels gross, it feels overwhelming, feels video gamey. Building tension. So, kind of ties into the pacing. Building tension is so popcorn worthy. We had a lot of roleplay, even this weekend, Friday-ish, that kind of played into that, where it's just, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to pop off. It adds to the severity, and it adds to the tension, and it adds to just how delicious the story can be. So instead of immediately going to have a fight, maybe let the moment breathe. There's a beat of silence. There's a slash me of eyes him up and down, clenches fists, clenches jaw, and then finally speaking with, you know what? Meet me tomorrow on the steps of the church, and we'll fucking handle this. It ties into pacing, but it also builds tension, because now that's a really tense moment. You don't know what's going to happen, and the other party is probably going to react with, shit, now I have to prepare. Now I need to figure this out. But it also lengthens the conflict. Reading the room. Always consider who you're in conflict with. It's very easy to overwhelm a player who is new to conflict, especially players who are new to GTA roleplay. It takes a while to really get it down, to figure out all the subtlety and nuance, and if you're really good, you can read the room. Oh, well, let's say not read the room. Let's just say you're a really good shot. You don't give the proper pacing. It can be overwhelming for that player on the other side. I myself, when I was new, man, I would cry when there was conflict situations, just because you have to learn how to, when you're new to this, you have to learn how to separate your own emotions from this. You have to learn that you are okay, you are safe, this is a video game. When you're so wrapped up in the moment and you're so tied into the story, it is hard to do that. It's just normal human reaction. So always try to consider that when you're dealing with people, and check with them out of character. Give them a roleplay shout out in the Discord, DM them, send them some love, say, hey, I hope you were okay with that. I'm sorry if that was a lot, and talk through it. Checking in with players out of character, for me, has been the one thing to even help my anxiety when it comes to, oh shit, did I fuck up? Did I overwhelm? Did that player not enjoy what I just did to them? Because I don't know. It's called the attack psych effect, adrenaline dump. Oh, yeah, it gets everybody. Also, going back to building tension, sorry, I missed this part. If you're downed in conflict, rest. You don't have to rest for months, but respect the roleplay. Let the tension build on the server. Even when it comes to conflict with cops, if you're arrested and you did a major crime, rest. Sit in jail for a little bit longer than you, like if your time is up in an hour, IRL, you know what, maybe rest them an actual day and play another character, or do something else for a bit. This is really important on GTA Roleplay, because it takes away a lot of the impact of conflict. If two groups are beefing, one whole group is hospitalized, that other group cannot take that celebration when the hospitalized group is literally walking out a pillbox an hour later, even though they were gunned down or potentially executed in the woods, or whatever it might have been. Press the character. It adds tension as well on a server-wide scale, As police investigate, hospital staff have to deal with it, and rumors start to spread because everybody talks in GTA Roleplay about what happened. And the question of, are they going to survive? Are they going to be released? What happened? What's their side of the story? It adds so much to the tension, and there's always a larger ripple effect. So resting is only a good thing. Back to reading the room. If you know that you're in a group or you're in a situation where you're definitely going to outgun or outnumber the other group, maybe pull back and lighten up. Opt for, if someone did a small infraction, maybe opt for meeting on the street, punching them, like getting into a fist fight, going to the boxing ring, grabbing a set of brass knuckles and clocking them for a small infraction. Escalation is important. Maybe if you talk to them verbally and they didn't listen, now you have to go physical. You start with a scrap. They come back and they're still not listening. Okay, now you escalate to stabbing. They come back and they're still not listening. All right, well, you know what? Now it's time for guns, because guns, there's a lot of perception around gunplay, and gunplay can, in a way, kill a scenario. It's just that once a gun is drawn, once a gun is shot, the roleplay has ended. You can react, but the other player is downed. And it is a point of escalation that you can't really come down from. So it's just making sure you're building up. If you know the other opposing group is only one person and you've got 5 people, maybe pick who you're going, talk to your group, discuss, okay, let's meet them one-to-one. Who's our best guy? Who's the one that's going to scrap with them? This way, it's at least feeling even, it feels fair, and it feels more story-focused instead of overwhelming and just trying to get a W, as it's, called. Also, do not bully characters or players. This is super important. I think everyone who's ever played GTA Roleplay, myself included, has been in those situations and been in those scenarios, yeah, I see that in chat, where you start conflict, and the retaliation that you get does not match the conflict that you started. It is vastly overwhelming than what you were expecting, to the point of anxiety, and to the point of, ooh, you know what? I'm not having fun. I don't want to be here. Let me just back away. I have personally been in situations where I've had an internalized conflict with, it was a physical conflict, but it was internalized to my own group. It was a perma-contract situation, and suddenly I had 6 other gangs on the server hunting me. Why? They heard, and they just decided to take all of their beefs out. But it became a point of witch hunting. It became a point of, if I would log in, they were camping my apartment spawns. That's why here on our server, we have a rule, at least on Southside, you leave people at the apartments. You never chase people at the apartments. Give them that little grace. Yeah, it sucks. Don't bully. Let them have their space. I have also been in a situation, it's MBD versus Vagos right now on the server, where I've had conflict with Swerb. Swerb is one of the Vagos. And we've gotten into a drive-by. The next day, I log on early, just because work is pretty chill, and I'm now doing a bit of grinding just to get some money up because my cars are fucked. I see him up in Polito while I'm at the pawn shop on Rodri, his Vago, and I see that he runs away and he hides. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want him to think that I'm hunting him. So I DM'd him and I messaged him. I checked in with him. I was like, hey, I'm not hunting you. I'm just trying to make some money. You're okay. And just doing that quick check-in eased the anxiety that he had, because the night before, I was the aggressor, and I don't want him to think that I'm bullying him, that I'm chasing him, that I'm just going to constantly be on the attack whenever he's around, because that's not fair to him. And these characters should be allowed some grace period to, you know what, if you ended up fucking up your car and you need repair bills, if you need to buy additional weapons, if you need to take care of your house before the next conflict begins, give them that grace. So that's physical conflict. And one of the examples I have of physical conflict, let me grab it. I don't want to bring up any of the meta stuff that's happened recently, Toro. I will do so with your permission because a lot of it on both sides was really, really good.
You have full permission.
Okay. So I'm gonna grab this. I'm warning you all now. This is meta from 2 days ago, but people already know. So this is MBG being assholes against an old lady. But I want to show this because it's like really interesting to see the nuance and the subtlety of how this was handled.
Do you need a ride, kiddo? I got a spot for you if you want one.
You gotta share the other screen. We can't hear anything.
Oh, wait a minute.
You gotta share your browser window.
But I am. I'm not doing application. Let's see if you can hear it now.
Take you wherever you need to go.
Anything or no? Why, Discord? Alright, hold on. I think it has to be application.
Yeah, it was nice one.
Oh no, now I
Yeah,
fucked
now
up.
we can hear it.
Okay, cool. So it has to be application. Alright, that's fine. Let me grab this again, and we'll start over from that spot.
Do you need a ride, kiddo? I got a spot for you if you want one. Take you wherever you need to go.
I think I have a ride coming.
Okay. Hey, if you're sure, I mean, I ain't gonna charge you nothing, but I'll give you a ride.
Yo, put your hands up.
Oh, what is going on?
Put your hands up.
Go ahead.
Oh no.
Don't do anything stupid.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna put you in our car.
Oh no. Oh.
So this is really powerful. This item. The person who has it on, yeah, it obscures their vision. Yeah, Toro's reaction is fantastic. So it is very important that we vocalize what's happening and let that player know what we're doing. So Ness saying, we're gonna put you in our car, gives Toro the mental cue of what is happening next. And even when we're driving up to the location, Ness says, don't do anything, I have a gun trained on you. It's very important that when you have a character in a hostage situation, again, especially with a tool that is this powerful, find out in character, J-Lab. Oh, okay, Staff Sergeant just told you what the item is. That's fine. Yeah, it's a burlap sack. Whatever, it's fine. It's on the server. Whatever. Meta. People should know what these things are. Just read descriptions. Read descriptions, and it'll tell you. It's very important to vocalize because this is anxiety provoking. When we were testing this, personally, I was just like, I don't like this because you are totally at the will of the other person. You don't know what's happening. They have to be able to initiate correctly through speaking because you can't see their /me's, you can't see scenes, you can't see anything. So proper initiation absolutely is a go-to here. The other part of this, let me see. All right. I might fast forward this a little bit because it's not necessarily the conflict per se, but part of the conflict.
Yeah, you remember me?
I can tell you got your face all covered up.
Oh, you know who I am. Okay, so my friends here. My friends here, they think that this is about the other day when you disrespected me in public. Eh?
Nando, is that you?
Oh, for fuck. Yeah. Yeah, you know it's me.
Oh, I never. You always were a disrespectful young man.
Yo, watch
Oh,
your
keep
fucking.
your fucking mouth shut. But here's the thing. It's not just about that. Because I got a long fucking memory. Yeah? You remember the time you
Okay.
pulled me out of the fucking place? Hurt my ear and shit?
Oh, did I hurt your widow earlobe?
Keep talking.
Okay, so I realized I fucked up when we were going to initiate this in that I had the wrong weapon. I have an automatic on me. All we're doing is threatening a little old lady. Having an automatic is heavy escalation if I use it. I do not want to use it. I actually call this out of my stream of I fucked up. I forgot to grab just a regular pistol or something else. It was just what I had on me because Ness is carrying this because of her war with Vagos. I don't want to use this. This is Hernando's beef. This is his issue with Thelma. So Ness is not overwhelming. She is going to assist. So that's why I put her in a hold up emote to show that I have the gun, but I have zero intention of actually using it. I would have rather let Thelma go. Like if Hernando decided not to use the bat, then shoot her. Because to me, that is such a quick, rapid escalation. It is not fair and it doesn't respect the scenario, nor does it respect the story being told. So that's why I made this choice. We also have Maddie with us. She created a new character just to sort of get into additional kinds of conflict so we can show her what it's like, because she's new to being a criminal, so she's a baby crim, as she's even said it herself. That's not to call her out on any awful bad level at all. We all start somewhere. So it was like, hey, why don't you're not part of the gang, but you can be from the east side on this character, and you could just hang out with us, roll with us. We'll get into some typical crime. Thelma ended up being around at the same time. So it's a good opportunity to show her how to do this kind of escalation, how to be the aggressor in a way that is respectful and still leading into story. And she loved it. She enjoyed it. And it was just a good perspective to have without being forced into being an immediate leader of a group where you don't have the background and experience of rolling with other people. And so it was also a good opportunity for her to learn as well.
And see if you don't get a
We even talked about not having automatics. Yeah, I know. We totally talked about it, and I just kind of fucking derped, and I recognized it. Like I said, shit happens.
bully. Yeah, no. All this loud mouth you got. Yeah.
Fear and intimidation. Is this what you're about?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
Well,
you need to fear and be intimidated.
Nando, you don't know nothing
so much
about
shit.
me. I'm not scared to die. I imagine I'm gonna die every night when I go to bed. I might not wake up.
This ain't about you,
might.
bitch.
A long life.
Shut the fuck up.
I move away for two reasons. One, I don't want to get hit with the bat. LOL happened anyway. Two, I am now removing myself and letting Hernando take over. This is his scene.
And maybe your broken hip will keep your mouth shut. I don't know how that fucking shit works.
And here Toro does a /kill me. So if you are the victim of aggression and you know that your character, let's say your character is injured. In this case, Thelma is old and frail. What you can do, we have a command, /kill me, and it will automatically down you. We utilized it. Well, we added it because it's great to utilize for story. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you overdose on drugs. Maybe you just take that one hit and it just so perfectly placed that it knocks you the fuck out. So you don't have to awkwardly stand there as you're getting clubbed to death. as like, well, my character is 83 years old and she would totally be down by now, but my player model is not. It gets uncomfortable. So we can totally use that in these conflict scenarios. I love this.
Oh,
Dumbass.
you good?
Give me one more time. Give me one more fucking time.
No.
Give me one more fucking time.
We need to go.
Yeah, we do.
Never again, bitch. Don't forget.
So that's important too. When it comes to gangs, we're leaving a message. We want her to know, and we want whoever was going to find her to know that MBG did this. So gangs have both a physical flag item that they can physically drop. I actually didn't have it on me, or we could use scenes. So that indicated Ness dropping a blue flag, a bandana, so that whoever would pick her Thelma up would see that. It is a breadcrumb to continue story. Otherwise, all they would have to go on is 3 people. Yes, if Thelma wanted to remember, she could have said somebody in blue. One was dressed in dark clothing. The other one is not dressed in anything special, a white tank top in a dark car. There's not a lot to go off of. So I always like leaving scenes, and I always like leaving breadcrumbs when I can, because I enjoy consequences. I am a glutton for punishment. But it also just feels fair if you're leaving some sort of evidence. If the moment happens so fast because of the way our CAD system is when someone is downed, you have to move fast. If things happen so fast that, again, brain go burr, and you can't do these things in the moment, open an evidence ticket and just say, hey, I meant to do these things and I totally forgot. And what staff can do, actually this happened with Vagos and MBG recently. What staff can do is they can no clip on the map and place the scenes down that you meant to place, and like talk to you in DMs and be like, okay, tell me where you want these scenes to go. This way when the cops investigate or the other group investigates, they have something to go off of. Rodri with Vagos did a drive-by on Fudge, and in an evidence ticket, he showed us the video that he recorded of him doing it, but he didn't leave any scenes. So technically, it's like MBG has nothing to react to. It would kind of be a little meta-y if we took that video and ran with it. So I asked him, hey, would it be possible if there was any physical evidence left? He then worked with Mew to figure out what those scenes would be. Mew, invisible no-clip to the area while we weren't around. She placed the scenes, told us we were good, closed the ticket, and then MBG now had the story to go off of. So we're totally willing to work with it. Just, whatever evidence you can leave just to continue the story. That's pretty much the whole point. Sometimes action happens really fast as well. Oftentimes it happens really fast. And so you have to be really mindful of how you're initiating and how you're engaging. Man, I fucking respected the fuck out of Gizmo. You don't show me no respect? So this was how the beef with MBG and Vagos started. That's all I'm gonna say. There was a reason this happened.
There's nobody down here. What the fuck?
What?
What the fuck?
Yo, I was on nighttime, and they ain't even got any fucking homies on the block.
They're scared.
The intention was MBG wanted to send a message to the Vagos. So we wanted to do a drive-by. That's what we wanted. But there were no locals. That just happens sometimes. The way that I treat locals is I absolutely treat them like gang players. If I am attacked by a local that's part of the Vagos, families, ballers, I'm going to rest because you know what? There might be a local homie, but they're still a fucking homie. Really? And this is when Neon catches us.
Now you want to fucking play games.
Nah, you playing games.
Now
dude.
you want to
Don't
fucking play
do that.
games.
I was doing you a favor, and you said east side, so I came east side. You didn't
You
say
don't come to
tattoo
fucking
shop.
Fudge.
You
So automatic is pulled again because the intention was a drive-by, spray, pray, get the fuck out. That's what Ness had on her. But he rolled up, we pause, we have a conversation. Something that I have to get better at, and something that I overanalyze, and it's just something I've done for years, and I'm trying to improve when I can think about it in the moment, which is tricky, is I tend to repeat myself twice. And this is just a mental thing that I do because I'm not sure that the person's going to hear me the first time. But when I'm in the middle of conflict and shit is just happening, I will always end up repeating myself twice. So that's what she said. Now you want to play fucking games. And she said it twice. It's just something that I do reflexively that I need to work on. It's not a bad thing. It's not like I'm doing COD level callouts. It's just something that I noticed. It just makes it a little unnatural when I look at myself and my VODs. Dead Gizmo. And there, instead of just leaving, she runs up to Gizmo, tells him to eat a dick. She's mad at him. He disrespected her, and it just adds more time and tension that he knows that this was a personalized attack.
Fuck 'em up, homies.
Fuck out of here.
And then we, you know, the whole block goes up in flames, and we got to get out of there. One clip that I have that's physical violence, and it's slower paced. Well, actually, this one real quick. Because it looks accidental, but it was intentional, and it was so well done. Alright, it's so fast.
Go fuck yourself.
It's so fast. It is that fast. When Komie was Ness's parole officer, and we go to ambush him, because she doesn't want to go back to jail. But she goes back to jail anyway. From the time I approach and pull out the Tech 9 to walking up to his window, what I do, I am intentionally forcing myself forward so that I can't shoot him until Komie reacts, and Komie shoots me first. It happens so fast. But it's my way of saying, we're going into conflict now. Are you ready?
Yo, go fuck yourself.
See how my gun comes up? I cannot shoot him because I moved too close. Now watch, he blows out his window, and that's the signal to me. He's ready for conflict. I am not overwhelming him. He is good to go. I'm good with Fresh. We both have a very similar style when it comes to conflict, so I knew I was able to get away with that. But I wanted, because I knew that I was going to be the aggressor, I wanted them to be sure that they were ready before that all happened. So yeah. That's super quick. But sometimes it could be even as quick as that. And it's just like these small, subtle things that as you do it over time, you get used to. This one I love. David, you.
Do we have a description or anything of the individual who was injured?
I see one right over here.
Alright.
Switching to non-lethal. Hello? Can you hear me?
Dispatch, yard looks clear. Go ahead and
This is Darlin Falco with the SASP. Can you hear me?
Anybody inside, make yourselves known. SASP. Alright, let's go ahead and push them together. Ready?
They're over there by the wall.
Sit.
By the wall. There's lots of walls in here, sir.
By the weight room.
Sit. SASP, let's see some goddamn hands.
All right, we will deal with them shortly. Let's get you,
Fucking do anything, I'll fucking slit your throat wider than the Grand Canyon.
This is so good. What Chip does is he vocalizes his intent to separate the other cops and get them to the farthest part of the cells. So they're in the middle of clearing. He is in a downed emote. And then he uses a /me to indicate that he's pulling out a weapon and that he's actually going to stand up before he does the physical motion, because sometimes mechanics happen so fast. And I know that if you pull out the shank weapon, it is a very quick, motion. So that's him projecting the intent of what he's doing. This way, Toro has the ability to react to what's happening.
With them shortly. Let's get you,
I put my hands up
fucking do
immediately.
anything. I'll
Yep.
fucking slit your throat wider than the Grand Canyon.
Oh no.
You understand me, Del Falco? Don't fucking go for your radio either.
Again, he's still vocalizing his intent. He's giving her instructions. Shit gets fucky when you're escorted.
I'm gonna turn off my... Okay.
Dispatch for cell block is clear. Prison appears
Anyone
to
in
be
this
clear of
fucking
any,
yard that does anything,
additional
she's dead.
threats. I'm gonna call it code 4. We do
Fucking
have
no.
one injured individual.
That's my car, sir.
101 for 4-4.
Open this fucking gate.
That's my car, though.
Unlock your fucking car.
Now, escort is very powerful and should be used in a respectful manner because the other player cannot get out of the escort. We do have carry emotes. You do /nearby carry, and that gives the other player a prompt to accept or deny. That's much more graceful, but sometimes it's not always an option. So if you do have to escort somebody, please, 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 please use it respectfully. Don't just use it to troll other players. And in this situation, yes, Chip is using escort against Darla, but she's also guiding him by telling him that's her car. That is her subtle way, I'm assuming, Toro, of pointing him towards the car and there's stuff in it. And just adding more to the situation and story.
101 from 4-4 direct.
They're calling me on the radio.
Right there.
Yeah.
101 status?
Oh,
Told you,
God.
Del
We're
Falco,
getting no
I'd get you.
response from 101 on the radio.
Now, just as like a weird mechanical thing, she can still hear her radio because she put herself as 10-7, not on, just basically AFK on the MDT, just to give some actual indicator that something happened. But she can still physically hear the radio, unless she actually pulled out the radio item. But he said, don't use your radio. So that can also conflict. If he gives her the direction, don't use your radio, and she pulls out the radio to turn it off, it can look like conflict. This also adds to the tension of now you get to hear, as a viewer on the other side of this, Montgomery is asking, where's 101? 101's not responding. All DeFalco has to do is not respond. When a state service employee is downed for any reason, even if it's a ejecto-ceto accident, they are automatically turned off from the radio. And I kind of love this part because he got the first gate open.
I distracted him with the car talk.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm cheering him on now.
I potatoed. But he can't get out of the other gate. He's trying.
I believe this is Mr. Colton.
Oh, fucking son of a bitch. Oh, come on, let him out.
It's alright. Darla, just stay with me.
So that, I don't know, I saw that on stream and I asked Toro if it was okay if I use this as an example because I thought this was so well done as far as, yes, physical action. He's trying to get out of prison and he's using a cop to do it. But the pacing, the understanding, and the back and forth between the aggressor and the victim as far as playing together in order to project the story. that's all of that. So let me flip my screen again. Ba, 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 ba. Social conflict. Social conflict. It's very, very much you're speaking. That's what it is. Social conflict does not rely on any physical acts because once you go into a physical act, it becomes physical violence. Slash me's are really important in social conflict because sometimes it's hard to get the right projection and inflection from a player. Some players who are less emotive with their voice are much harder to understand. So doing a slash me just helps solidify what you're trying to convey. Some people are really good at coming off as sarcastic. So there would be a good understanding of, okay, that character is being sarcastic. But sometimes a player just naturally with their tone of voice might just naturally sound sarcastic all the time. So it's hard to tell then if, did you say that and intend for it to sound that way? Or were you just being you? Is that just the character? And it can cause a lot of confusion. So slash me's only help solidify and enhance what is back up what you're trying to convey. And they could be like to convey mood and deception, smirks knowingly, looks uncomfortable, things of that nature. So saying something off the cuff of, I love that Nessa gives a screenshot for this. Oh yeah. So like, oh yeah, you would know that, wouldn't you? My voice is conveying sarcasm, but just in case the other player didn't catch it, slash me smirks knowingly. Now you know it's social conflict, or at least it helps. Pacing. Pacing of social conflict takes longer than physical conflict. It is much better to plant seeds instead of running to the whole server immediately about social conflict. Did you hear about this? Did you know this? Don't. It just gets awkward and uncomfortable, and it kind of ruins pacing. Social conflict, think of it as you're DMing. You're dropping little, I like to call them roleplay cookies. You are planting seeds. So what that means is it's more about build up. It's more about causing others to question the intent and the factual evidence in front of them. Did that person really go to that meeting? Are you sure? How do you know? Are you sure they're not lying to you about it? And just something as simple as that can, depending on the character, if that character is unsure, if that character is anxious, it might cause them to doubt and then overanalyze and talk to other people. Did they really use that money for the intentions they said? How do you know? You don't see any bank receipts. I mean, we just got a bunch of this other stuff. How do you know they're not fucking around? So things like that with social conflict. It's more about leaving breadcrumbs than getting into a social conflict where you don't like somebody and you want to screw them over and then literally using any opportunity to tell people, fuck that guy, they're an asshole. I don't like them. I'm gonna get them. That kind of like just ruins it. Be very, 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 very careful about the words you use. I say this, and this goes into the whole read the room. I have seen situations just over the many, many years I've done GTA roleplay where characters have thought to build social conflict would be a good... Let me back up a second. Where characters thought a good way to build social conflict is to attack another character's personality, background, or making them sound creepy and like a sexual predator. Please do not do this. This is not okay. You do not want to burn a character in social conflict. There is a way to say, ooh, they're uncomfortable around, like, they seem like a little uncomfortable around women versus, oh yeah, they're creepy as fuck. They do this and this and this. Please be very careful. Please be very mindful. Please choose your words carefully. It is not fair to the player on the other side if it is a character projection, or if they don't intend to do that at all, or if they aren't, but this rumor is going out around them because it kills the character, and not just that, it can very quickly go out of character where people are taking that as an out of character thing of now that player is creepy, even though that wasn't really the intent and that didn't happen in the first place. Like as Swirly said, it can really be damaging to the player. So please choose your words carefully. There's many other ways that you can approach it, and there's many other ways that you can handle it. I've had to stop many a situation where people have used that against another character. Because it's just, it is not okay. I've also seen it on other servers. It is a very quick way to get a player to never log in again. Yeah, don't bully them. I also love the screenshot because this is social conflict, but it's not direct social conflict. It is still sending a message, and it is still using words, and instead of /me's, it's graffiti. What if they are 100% being creepy as fuck to the dancers at the VU to the extent 100% think it's on purpose to be noticed? So that is a situation I did handle because of the way it was told to Ness was not a way that was okay. When Ness was told this by a different character, your boy's being creepy, your boy's creeping on the women, your boy's making them uncomfortable. Is there confirmation that he's making them uncomfortable? Is it something that's really simple? It was just something that I can tell that the way it was approached to Ness was out of character and leaning that way because the player that approached me in character was really bad and wanted to burn the other person. Very, very careful. And Ness just nipped that in the fucking bud of, I'm a woman, he deals with me, I'm not creeped out. Shut the fuck up. It's a job thing. Why are you running to me? I'm not his mom. And then it stopped from there. Yeah, handling in character, dragging him out by his earlobe and fired his ass. Perfect. Perfect. But when the information got to me, I had to do a lot of damage control in character to make sure that character did not get burned because that is not okay and that is not fair. Actually, before I go into internal conflict, social conflict, I have examples. Bum, 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 bum. And I gotta flip my screen again. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Is it what I want? Yeah. Yeah, but I've also seen it on other servers as well, where one wrong social move causes the player, like, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of a direct example right now. Oh, I can, actually. Gangs talk a lot. Just in general, gangs and groups always talk to each other. And if one leader fucks up in a business deal, because they're just like, I'm not thinking, and that information got out, and suddenly that character was burned from doing any business deal at all, and it was spun up and it was amplified, and the social context was that they never paid anyone back, they were completely unresponsible, that they were just one of the worst people ever. And it was like, whoa, hey, calm down, cut it out, let's pace it out. Maybe we should, like, in character, is that actually true? Can someone actually speak to this? Or is there anyone who has actually had dealings with this and now, no, you're fucking lying. So yeah, the consequences should fit, but also when you're planting seeds, it's okay to counter those seeds and say, wait a minute, is that actually true? There's rumors right now on the server about somebody being dead. And those seeds were planted. And those seeds got out to people. And those people were talking to other people. And people were freaking the fuck out. Until they came to Pillbox, and Pillbox was saying, no. So, make sure you're really careful, because the issue that happened with that one, that I can speak to, is the player who they were talking about ended up getting really anxious and really worried. And they, out of character, they were like, oh no, that's not intended, oh no. And so, as staff, we had to very quickly course correct to make sure that everything was okay. Choose your words, choose your social attack very carefully. And again, always check in. This is actually a long example, so I'm not going to go through this one. There are much better ones that I can use for social conflict. This one, also tied to Thelma.
Yo, what's good?
What's good? I just want to talk with you real quick, Ness.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. How you doing?
I've been better, bro.
What's up?
What's up with this, bro?
So that's the breadcrumb of the blue flag that I left by Thelma's body in the physical example that I just left. So again, like I said, breadcrumbs. Pushing a story. It gave families something to react to instead of chasing a ghost on a server and not knowing where to start.
Depends on where you got it.
Laying next to my Gmail.
That's when the social conflict starts. The moment Sosa dropped that truth bomb, now they're having a conflict. The physical action, the physical conflict is now led into a social conflict.
Wait, who?
Thelma, bro. My family.
Are you fucking serious? Fuck.
Ness knows, I know as a player, that Sosa's not going to attack me. There is no risk of physical violence in this situation. This is them. She had done something wrong, and he is confronting it. And she now has the choice to lie about it or to be honest about it. It is a different kind of social conflict in that he's not being deceptive. He is being upfront and he is being honest, but he wants truth from her. So he is being the aggressor in this situation with the social conflict. The deceptive version is just easier and it's like the most common version of social conflict, but this is a social conflict. Sosa wants answers. Sosa wants truth. Sosa wants to know what the fuck happened. And Ness is the one who is technically the victim in the situation because she has to react to him. She needs to own up to what she did or figure out a way to vocalize and handle this social tension.
Look, she disrespected Hernando and me. I didn't know she was your family.
Bro, old lady? Come on, man.
Yo, I don't give a shit. If people disrespect me, I'm gonna go get them. But if I knew she was your family, I would have gone to you. I would have not done anything.
Her saying that ties into the last roleplay workshop we did about the one's needs, flaws, and strengths. Ness is always family first.
So what y'all end up doing to her?
Baseball bat. Just smacked her a bunch of times. We weren't looking to kill her or nothing. Fernanda was really fucking pissed at her. I don't blame her. She was really good at getting under her skin and pulling the "you don't got a brain," grabbing him by his ear, all this other nonsense.
Look, bro. Me and you, basically been through the same shit, dog. I know how it is. You know how it is. Honestly, I don't want no bad blood between us, bro. But I mean, somebody gotta answer for this. Feel me?
And now social conflict potentially leading into physical conflict.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I mean, I ain't trying to fuck nobody up too bad, but it's just a good old, quick ass kicking, and then we leave it at that.
I'm right here. I didn't know that was your fucking family.
Bro, did you do it or did he do it?
I didn't touch her.
Then I don't want to fucking hit you, bro.
Alright. Fernando, it is.
I mean, if you want to talk to him,
Yeah, I will.
see how he feel. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
So that whole situation, less deception, but this is something where he is addressing her socially. He wants her to come clean. He wants to know what is happening. And she has a choice to either say, fuck you, or try to make it right. She is totally she is on his turf. She is in his house. She is, proverbially, she is at his, I don't want to say whim, but she needs to react to him. So that is a different kind of social conflict. Another one, Ness and Cormier. So there's an internalized conflict example that leads into this. It actually precedes what happens here. Just for some context, Ness was in the hospital. Cormier brought her in. Home team advantage, exactly. Cormier brought Ness into the hospital, and he is basically monologuing at the side of her bed with this internalized conflict he has dealing with her. And I rolled a dice. I like rolling dice when it comes to some conflicts and such, or just reactions. How's Ness going to react? I rolled a dice to see. There were times where she was unconscious, but her finger was twitching in response. And when I rolled the dice, it came out that any time her finger twitched with some of the words he was saying some key things that like her brain was reacting to. Those were the things that she would remember. So this is her confronting in a social manner the things that he said at her bedside. The intent was he wants to help. Her intent is, I don't want you to help. Oh, she's also here to pick up a gun.
Where you going, Ness?
I figured the front.
No, you're good right here. I have your weapon. There you go. I'm glad you're okay.
That gives them something to react to.
What?
Next time you're standing over my fucking bed, don't try to fucking save me. Don't try to fucking connect with me. You don't fucking know me. You don't know the shit I've fucking been through.
It's quick. She's setting the lines socially, and she's being aggressive and telling him where her lines are on a social manner. There was one I could have grabbed from Mulabi. I didn't. That one was more of deception based. Anuska had to go to Pillbox and find out, hey, is my friend dead? People on the street are saying my friend is dead. I'm freaking out. I mourned for them. The last hour or so has been crazy. What is happening? I know you can't tell me anything as EMS, but just can you assure me of anything? That was more of a good example of someone spreading deception and rules, deception and lies across the server in order to spread social conflict, and us having to go in character and be like, no, this isn't the situation at all. Da 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 da, changing windows again. All right. Internalized conflict. Internalized conflict is really hard to do on a roleplay server. It's easy to do by yourself. It's easy to sit there and be sad, sad boy vibes. But it's really hard to let others in. It's really hard to give other players the clues and the cues of what's going on. It's also really hard to pace it. As far as pacing, internalized conflict is probably some of the longer conflict that would go on. Speaking, you can verbalize the conflict, hesitation, all this other stuff. I don't know. I feel lost. I'm just kind of confused. Oh, I just need a minute. Things like that. Basically anything to give any sort of breadcrumb to the other players that something else is going on. Slash me's are really important with internalized conflict as well. To just convey, like, looks stressed, looks hesitant, looks worried. What I do a lot on Ness is that she rubs at her face, sort of like, I can't really convey it in a way that, like, is well, but just kind of that stressed out, hands on your face, or like, your head in your hands of just like, fuck. Scenes are good ones too. Scenes are some things that you can just drop by yourself and in an area where you know other players are going to be, and then they can pick up on it and go, oh shit, something happened. And then they can ask and figure it out. Torn up papers next to a bed. Maybe that character is reading some letters from their past, from family or an old loved one or a lover. Pinches the bridge of their nose. Yeah, that's a good one too. And the papers are torn up. So that at least gives another character something to react to of, hey, you okay? Something happened? Scenes of photographs, yep. A broken mirror. They're staring at themselves in the mirror and they're trying to face their internalized demons and they just can't take it anymore, so they punch the mirror and now it's shattered. And maybe you could even leave scenes of little blood droplets nearby so people know, oh, shit, something happened. That's a very classic movie internalized conflict that's used. Absolutely, when dealing with internalized conflict, lean on tropes, lean on what you've seen in movies, because they're really good. Movies and TV shows are fan-fucking-tastic at projecting internalized conflict in a visual and storytelling manner so that the audience gets it without having internal narrator voice bullshit. So yeah, if you've seen it in a movie, it's a really, really good trope to use most of the time. Building tension. Basically, pace it out so that you're giving the other player something to react to. It's the slowest of the pacing out of all three kinds of conflict, because there's a lot of character development with it. Yeah, being too subtle can absolutely backfire, and it can also cause frustration, and it could also cause confusion. I had to learn this with Lauren on my old server. She was less ridiculous, and she was more, had a lot of internalized demons, and so she would go on these things where she would just be bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and bubbly, and suddenly her voice would drop, and there were days where she was not good, and she would be very somber, very monotone, or she would look stressed out, or she would look like her eyes were glazed over, or she was zoning out, and so it was, I had to learn how to pace that, because I knew for, after a while, it was frustrating the other players because I just didn't know how to do it. Check in with the other players when it comes to internalized conflict, because you don't want to pull too much attention on you. Internalized conflict, the spotlight is always on your character. You have the sole spotlight, and your intention is to share it with others. But make sure you're doing it in a way that makes sense. Yeah, like slow pacing with letting other players see the character development. They look worse, they're giving into addiction, things like that. This is the one. Got two videos. I just mentioned of Cormier at Nessa's bedside. This is his internal conflict.
What a great interview, Teddy. Would you like to tell us about our next story now?
Absolutely, Iris. We've been hearing
We literally, not that, a couple days ago, a day ago, something. I don't know, it very recently just had a fucking talk about this shit.
Give us a call. An anonymous tipper led reporters to the scene of some strange graffiti, and we've decided to dig in. The Archangel has made their mark, and it seems as though we have a rogue journalist in our midst.
You may be watching, but so is everyone else in this great city. You can always count on Weasel to bring you the latest and the greatest in news and entertainment. I assure you, we're the real deal. So be sure to check out my full take on this false angel and our newspapers out tomorrow.
That's it for tonight. Remember to tune in next time.
She's good, Miller. I cuffed her to the bed.
Okay.
All right, I'll be out in a little bit.
Right.
That's so well done. With the minute that Miller, who was still in cadet phases at that time, was like the minute he came into the room, Cormier, shut up. Cormier is venting. He is expressing his internal struggle with Ness while she's unresponsive, and he knows this. He's just getting it off his chest because she will never listen to him. And the moment someone else came into that room and invaded that sense of privacy and that space without his permission, he just clamps up. And then does the, as his FTO, okay, you know what? I don't really need you here. You're good. I'm just taking care of this thing.
I don't understand. No, you know what? I do understand. Actually, I get it. I completely get it. But, bro, you're so fucking young, Ness. You can't hear anything that I'm fucking saying. So to be honest, none of this even really fucking matters. But it's like,
that is the cue to me as the player that this is him expressing his views without expecting her to know or hear or anything, that he is just getting this off his chest, and this is internal conflict that he's had with her.
do you want? Like, is this what you want? You want to just get constantly shot at? Are you trying to prove something to someone? Of course, I mean, of course you are. That's all it's ever fucking about. You just gotta prove yourself on the streets. I want to guess your family, family's been in this shit. So you gotta prove, that you're tough enough for it too. The whole,
Again, he mentions family. Family is super important to Ness, so she subconsciously, unconsciously picked up on that.
The whole, I didn't choose this life, the life chose me bullshit, right? Or the whole, what other choice did I have? It's all I grew around. I grew up around this shit. Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. Those are all just excuses.
Cormier, since she's on hold, I'm assuming you don't want me to alert the emergency contacts.
For now,
okay.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And again, his space is invaded by Dr. Rex, and he pauses, waits, totally diverts, deals with that before he goes back to her bedside to continue just his absolute venting of the situation, because it's the only way that he can express this internal conflict he has without anyone else knowing. So that was just, I asked Fresh if I could use this as an example, because this was such a beautiful conveyance of internal conflict, which is really hard to do, and it just came out so well. The other one is more rapid paced and it's less expressive. It's less vocalized. But again, going back to the other night.
Make it.
What?
What?
Shit.
What you mean she ain't making?
She's dead.
Like, did she have a heart attack or something?
No.
I didn't even fucking hit her hard.
She's an old fucking woman, bruh.
Sosa's pacing internal conflict, and he's conveying it to the other players.
Look, I'm sorry.
Sosa. You know we go way back. We used to stand here on the same spot on the road in front of your auntie's house. I like to think I know you well enough to know that if somebody had said shit like that to you in public in front of witnesses, you probably would have done the same thing, especially if you didn't know that she was connected.
Oh, the lag is real bad. Despite the lag, ignore the lag. That just happens when I'm streaming. I have to still fuck with my settings. Sosa is silent. He's listening, but he's also silent. And what you'll pick up on is the silence goes on for a beat too long that it's kind of palpable. That in combination with the pacing and what just happened, there's a lot of internal conflict going on with him. He doesn't even have to do a slash me. You can just pick up on it.
What was your intentions, bro?
When I took her up there to send her a message to stop disrespecting me in public, it's the second time she's done this shit. That was all. We weren't going to kill her.
Oh, the weather effects are killing my fucking stream, making me lag. Okay.
Fuck, man.
Vocalizing the internal conflict. What was going to happen before is he just wanted Hernando to get a beat down. But now that we have the confirmation that Thelma is dead, this internal conflict just escalated, and now Sosa has to figure out what to do. Is this still an appropriate response? Is it still an appropriate physical reaction, or did it escalate? And so the internal conflict here, he's pacing, he's quiet, he's having these vocalized outbursts.
I don't know what to tell you, fool. It's not what we wanted. And I'm sorry that it hurt you. Not looking for bad blood with the families or with you.
Yeah, bro. I mean, sorry ain't really gonna bring her back, right?
No, it won't.
So, internal conflict, social conflict, physical conflict, all in this one scene. I really wanted to call out the internal conflict because I thought it was really good and how Sosa was really expressing, and you could feel it, how he had to make this decision. And the social conflict aspect is families versus Vagos. Hernando has to say the right things to satisfy Sosa in order to get Sosa to calm down. We wronged him on a physical level that didn't include him directly, but indirectly. And Sosa's reaction is going to be physical. It just depends on the escalation of physicality. So this right here was just a beautiful example of everything all in one. It's just harder to really get examples of internal conflict, so that's why I chose that for this. Boo boo boo, changing windows again. There we go. All right, and there's also another picture that I love of Vazdol just completely, utterly done. This is a great emote you can use for internalized conflict of you just laying there. It's supposed to be like the sunbathing emote, but in this context, she just had a ton of investigations, a ton of reports. She's exhausted. She's spent. If someone were to catch her like this, they can tell there's internal conflict going here. All right, things to remember. Conflict can bleed into each other, as we just saw with that video example with MBG versus families. Social can lead to physical, internal can lead to social, etc. Very easy to do. Pacing. Always remember pacing. In all three examples, let the story breathe. You don't have to, if you're in a physical altercation, you're down, don't immediately just walk out a pillbox, even though you physically can. Let the story breathe. If you're in a social conflict, don't run to the entire server. Plant little story seeds. If you have internal conflict, drop hints. Don't be too subtle, but pace it out. Don't overwhelm the other players by hogging the spotlight. Be mindful. Oh yeah, always check in with players out of character. Always check in, regardless of the kind of conflict that you're in, just to make sure that they're okay with what's going on. Be mindful not to burn characters in social conflict. Be careful of the words you're choosing. Be careful of the story and the web that you're spinning and how you're handling that. That can have very big out-of-character repercussions, so please be mindful of it. Be mindful not to overwhelm players in physical conflict. Remember, there are some players who they have mained civs for a while, and now they feel comfortable enough to try crim for the first time. Or they were a civ and they fucked up, and now they have a crim breathing down their back. Be mindful not to overwhelm people and to just escalate. Start with fists, move to knuckles, move to knives and melee before you're jumping to guns. Don't immediately jump to guns. If you have a gun on you, you can use it as a prop, you can use it as an emote. Just be mindful not to be overwhelming, don't witch hunt, don't chase them, give a bit of back and forth. Be mindful not to over-internalize the internal conflict. Again, leave breadcrumbs, don't be too subtle, don't hog the spotlight. And it's okay to take an L. Story often comes from taking losses. When you're always taking a win, and you're always going for the W, as they say, it can get pretty boring pretty quick. Sometimes losses drive the most interesting story because it also impacts other people. So yeah. That's all I got. Fuck the W's, give me all the L's. Oh, hell yeah. MBG lose all the fucking time. So yeah, that's the thing for conflict.
You know what I got from that?
What?
I make the best victim. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I got a lot more than that, but I just, I just had to say it. I had to. So if you ever need a victim, hey.
I'm also always down for being a victim on like alts and such, like EMS if you need them to be held up. Hey.
You guys snatched me up on Thelma. As soon as the bag went over my head, I was like, I mean, that was a, I didn't mean, I was like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, but Currency was in chat going, oh, they just made Toro's day. Like, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Any questions, comments, anything else? Awesome. Tomorrow, go ahead, tomorrow.
Specific question, but I can talk to you about it later. I need help with the stages of grief and
oh yeah,
and stuff. Because it's some of them are very easy and some of them are a bit more nuanced, and it's being compounded with other things that have happened, and I'm avoiding it by not playing that character. I can't do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, if any of you have any questions, concerns, or anything else, if you're like, hey, I need help with this thing, or I don't know how to handle this situation, or I have this internalized conflict, but I'm not sure I'm hitting the right beats, always DM me. My DMs are always open when it comes to any sort of character, concepts, questions, things of that nature. I also said that with the last workshop, but no, absolutely. I love talking like roleplay workshop, stuff like that. And and tomorrow's going to be the medical roleplay workshop. So if you're like have questions or like how do I handle these situations, big scary medical, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna have a workshop ready for that tomorrow.